Every secure system is built for one purpose: to keep outsiders out. But what if I told you no system was broken, no firewall was failed, and yet America's biggest companies were already compromised? Not by virus, not by malware, but by a single human voice. There are two kinds of people in every organization: those who follow instructions and those who sounds like they gave them. Once someone understands that, door doesn't need to be forced, they just need to be opened. In 1992, at 2 a.m., the phone doesn't stop ringing. Not in homes, not in offices, but inside the systems of America's biggest companies. No alarm were tripped, no locks were broken, no code were cracked. Someone just walked in and nobody knows how. This is the story of a man who moved through the system before the world knew how dangerous they were. A cyber criminal the FBI couldn't predict, a threat no firewall could stop. His name was Kevin Mitnick. They called him the ghost in the wires.
Successfully compromised all systems that I targeted for unauthorized access except one.
Kevin Mitnick was not a criminal hiding in the basements. He was a ghost moving through the world's most trusted systems. This happened before the internet was public, before cybersecurity term even existed, before companies believed this kind of thing was even possible. And that is why it terrified everyone. It all started in 1970s. Kevin Mitnick grew up in Los Angeles. As a teenager, he became interested in the system that relies on rules rather than enforcements. One of the first systems he studied was the Los Angeles public bus ticket system. At the time, bus driver checked punched paper tickets instead of verifying passengers. Mitnick learned how ticket punches works and how driver recognize valid tickets. He convinced the bus driver to tell him where can he get the machine which punches the transit tickets, claiming them it was for his school project. By understanding the system, he was able to reuse tickets and travel without paying. This was not a technical hack, it was the understanding of procedures and human behavior. One teenager figured out how to move through systems that adults trusted with their lives. Soon he was able to ride anywhere he wants, for free. Not by breaking rules, by understanding them better than the people enforcing them. This is the moment everything begins. Kevin Mitnick learned something earlier. Machine doesn't decide who gets access. Peoples do. If people trust paper tickets, what else do they trust? After learning how early procedural system could be bypassed, Mitnick became interested in telephone networks. Kevin didn't hack the phone system, he becomes the phone system by talking to it. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, telephone system was operated through centralized switch system. Access was controlled primarily through trust in technician and internal staff. According to the court rules, he gained access to phone switches that controls how calls are rotated across cities. Not listening, not spying, by controlling. At one point, he reroutes the law enforcement calls, including FBI agents. They dial out, they don't realize someone else decide where the call goes. If you controlled the phone system, who could stop you? This wasn't illegal curiosity anymore. This was power. In 1981, Mitnick was arrested for breaking into system at Digital Equipment Corporation, a tech giant, also known as DEC. DEC was a major manufacturer of computer systems and operating software. Prosecutors say he copied proprietary software worth millions. He was convicted and sentenced to prison. The story should end here. It doesn't. Because prison doesn't remove the skills, it sharpens it. After his release, late in 1980s, the court gave him one rule: no computers, no phones. But here was the problem. His weapon was never the computers. it was his voice. Despite these restrictions, he continued to gain access to corporate systems. Investigators later conclude that he did so primarily through phone-based social engineering rather than direct computer use. Between the late 1980s and early 90s, Mitnick accessed system belongs to the multiple major organizations. Now the stake change. Major corporations begin reporting intrusions. Pacific Bell, Motorola, Nokia, Sun Microsystem. Investigators find something chilling. No malware, no broken firewalls. Instead, employees are giving access willingly. Passwords, internet procedures, network maps. Because someone on the phone sound exactly they belong. This is called social engineering. Rumors explode. Media reports claim Metnick can shut down phone networks, hijack emergency systems, cripple the internet. Many of these claims were later challenged or retracted, but at the time they influenced public perception in law enforcement response. But at the time, nobody knows his limits. Companies panic, the government panics. The FBI does something unheard of. They labeled one man a national cyber threat. Mitnick disappears. No fixed address, no phone number. He moved constantly. The FBI believed he was monitoring investigation and adjusting his behavior accordingly. This belief was based on his consistent ability to evade capture. Because every time they get close, he was already gone. The question arises here. How do you capture someone who never breaks in? In 1994, Kevin Mitnick accessed system linked to Sutomu Shimomura, his biggest mistake. Nothing was destroyed, nothing was obvious, but Shimomura noticed. Instead of resetting password, he started tracing the intrusion himself. Phone lines, dial-up routes, connection timing. The pattern was familiar. It was Mitnick. From that moment, it wasn't hacking anymore. It was chasing. Each new access gives Shimomura more data. Each move narrows the gap. For the first time, Mitnick wasn't ahead. Shimomura brought the evidence to the FBI. February 1995. Raleigh, North Carolina. The quiet suburban street, lights on, curtains drawn. Nothing looks wrong. Agents arrive, preparing for a chase. Siren ready. Doors expected to break. But nothing happens. No running, no resistance, no chaos. Kevin Mitnick steps outside, calm, silent. The arrest lasts seconds. The man who stays invincible for years doesn't try to disappear because the ghost doesn't run. What happens next shocked even legal experts. Mitnick was held for years before trial, much of it in solitary confinement. Why? Because authorities argue he could start a cyber attack from a phone call or a conversation or a sentence spoken too confidently. In court, the facts still. Yes, he broke into systems. Yes, laws were violated. But no evidence showed catastrophic damage. No system destroyed. No infrastructure collapsed. The fear outruns the reality. In 1999, in a courtroom, Kevin Mitnick stands still. No speech, no defense. He pled guilty. The fight is over. In 2000s, a prison door opens. Not the applause, not the celebration, just daylight. Kevin Mitnick walks out, older, whiter, free. The man once called the world's most dangerous hacker became a cybersecurity consultant. He consulted with the companies to help them understand how their system was compromised and how human behaviors contribute to security failure. The same skill that scares governments now protects corporations. Kevin Mitnick proved something uncomfortable. The weakest part of any system is not the code, it's the trust. Firewalls don't stop confidence, encryption don't stop precision, and technology still hasn't solved that. The real threat was never hacking, it was belief and trust. Kevin Mitnick didn't break the machine, he broke assumptions. And in the world run by the systems, that may be the most dangerous thing of all.